Hello everyone, welcome to Math is Fun. Our lesson for today is all about finding velocity and acceleration using derivatives. In this lesson, you will learn how to find velocity and acceleration by taking derivatives of a position function. The first derivative gives the velocity, showing how fast an object moves, while the second derivative gives the acceleration, showing how its speed changes over time. Understanding the concepts. What is position function? A position function describes the location of an object at any given time. It is usually written as s of t, x of t, or d of t, where t represents time and s of t represents the object's position at that time. The position function tells us where the object is along a line or path as time changes. It is the starting point for finding both velocity and acceleration. The unit of measurement for position depends on the context of the problem, but it is always a unit of distance. In many math and physics problems, meters is the standard unit unless stated otherwise. What is velocity? Velocity is the rate of change of position with respect to time. It tells us how fast an object is moving and in what direction, making it a key idea in understanding motion. Mathematically, v of t is equal to s prime of t. This is the first derivative of position. Velocity helps us describe motion more clearly by showing both the speed and direction. By using derivatives, we can easily determine an object's velocity from its position function and better understand how it moves over time. What is acceleration? Acceleration is the rate of change of velocity with respect to time. It tells us how the velocity of an object is increasing or decreasing, helping us understand changes in motion. Mathematically, a of t is equal to v prime of t. This is equal to s double prime of t. This is the second derivative of position. Acceleration shows how an object's speed or direction changes over time. By using derivatives, we can find acceleration from velocity or position and fully describe the dynamics of motion. Since we're going to use derivatives to find velocity and acceleration, let's first review one of the most important derivative rules, the power rule. It helps us quickly find the rate of change of functions in the form of x raised to the exponent of n, or t raised to the exponent of n. If f of t is equal to t raised to the exponent of n, then f prime of t, or the first derivative of the function, is equal to n times t raised to the exponent of n minus 1. Mastering this rule makes calculating derivatives, and therefore, velocity and acceleration much easier. For example, find the derivative of f of t is equal to t raised to the exponent of 10. So what is your answer using the power rule? Alright, so the solution is f prime of t is equal to 10 times t raised to the exponent of 9. Another example, find the derivative of f of x is equal to x raised to the exponent of 4. Alright, what is your answer? Yes, you're right. F of x is equal to 4x raised to the exponent of 3. The power rule allows us to differentiate any term with a power of x easily. Mastering it makes calculating velocity and acceleration much faster and simpler. Next is the constant rule. If f of t is equal to c, then if prime of t is equal to 0. The constant rule reminds us that the derivative of any constant number is 0. This is because constant values do not change, and derivatives measure change. For example, find the derivative of f of t is equal to 7. So what is your answer? Very good. If prime of t is equal to 0. Another example. Find the derivative of f of x is equal to 5. Alright, what is your answer? Yes, f prime of x is equal to 0. The constant rule helps simplify derivative problems by removing terms that do not change. Understanding this rule makes it easier to find velocity and acceleration from position functions. Next is the constant multiple rule. If f of t is equal to c times t raised to the exponent of n, then f prime of t is equal to c times n times t raised to the exponent of n minus 1. The constant multiple rule tells us that when a function is multiplied by a constant, we can take the derivative by keeping the constant and differentiating the function. This rule makes it easier to handle problems with coefficients in front of variables. For example, find the derivative of f of t is equal to 5t raised to the exponent of 3. So by applying the constant multiple rule, we have f prime of t is equal to 5 times 3 times t raised to the exponent of 2. By simplifying, we get the final answer. F prime of t is equal to 15t raised to the exponent of 2. Another example. Find the derivative of f of x is equal to 8x to the 5th. So, by applying the constant multiple rule, we have f prime of x is equal to 8 times 5 times x raised to the exponent of 4. Further simplify, so we get the final answer. F of x is equal to 40x raised to the exponent of 4. The constant multiple rule simplifies differentiation by letting us keep the constant and focus on the function's derivative. Mastering this rule helps make finding velocity and acceleration faster and more straightforward. Next is the sum or difference rule. If f of t is equal to g of t plus m of t, then f prime of t is equal to g prime of t plus h prime of t. The sum and difference rule tells us that we can take the derivative of each term separately when functions are added or subtracted. For example, find the derivative of f of t is equal to 5t raised to the exponent of 3 plus t raised to the exponent of 6. By using the sum rule, we can take the derivative of each term separately by using the power rule. So we have if prime of t is equal to 5 times 3 times t raised to the exponent of 2 plus 6 times t raised to the exponent of 5. So by further simplification, we can get f prime of t is equal to 15t raised to the exponent of 2 plus 6t raised to the exponent of 5. Another example. Find the derivative of f of x is equal to 8x to the 5th minus 4x. So we have f prime of x is equal to 8 times 5 raised to the exponent of 4 minus 4. So this is our final answer. F of x is equal to 40x to the 4th minus 4. This rule helps make long expressions easier to differentiate. The sum or difference rule allows us to break expressions into simpler parts and differentiate each one easily. Using this rule makes finding velocity and acceleration from complex position functions much more manageable. Alright, let's apply derivatives to a real-life motion problem. This is our first problem, a car leaving a stoplight. A car starts from a rest at a stoplight. Its position after t seconds is modeled by s of t is equal to 2t cubed minus 5t squared plus 6t. We will use derivatives to answer 3 practical questions. The first one is find the velocity function. Second, find the acceleration function. And third, what is the velocity at t is equal to 3 seconds. So in this example, the unit of measurement for the position is not given. So we're just going to use the standard unit of measurement for the distance, which is equal to meters. Alright, so this is our solution. So first is we're going to find the velocity, which is the first derivative of the position. So v of t is equal to 2t cubed minus 5t squared plus 6t. This is coming from our position function. Alright, how we're going to solve this? So we can use the sum and difference rule. We can take the derivative of each term separately. So to find the first derivative, we have s prime of t is equal to 6t squared minus 10t plus 6. So this is our first derivative of the position. Next, we can get the second derivative, so which is the acceleration. Alright, so we have here a of t is equal to 6t squared minus 10t plus 6. Again, we can use the sum and difference rule. We're going to take derivative of each term separately. So the second derivative is equal to v prime of t is equal to 12t minus 10. Next, we can get the velocity as 3 is equal to 3 seconds. So we're going to get the first derivative of the function, and we're going to substitute the value of t, which is equal to 3. So we have v of 3 is equal to 6 times 3 raised to the exponent of 2 minus 10 times 3 plus 6. Then let's simplify. v of 3 is equal to 6 times 3 times 3 is equal to 9 minus 10 times 3 is equal to 30 plus 6. Then let's further simplify. So b of 3 is equal to 6 times 9 is equal to 54 minus 30 is equal to 24 plus 6 is equal to 30. Therefore, this is our final answer. Velocity at 3 seconds is equal to 30 meters per second. By differentiating the position function, you turn a description of where the car is into answers about how it's moving. The velocity function tells you the car's speed and direction at any time, and the acceleration function tells you how that speed is changing. Evaluating this function at a particular time, like t is equal to 3, gives a concrete, real-world number you can interpret. For example, whether the car is speeding up or slowing down at that instant. Next, let's apply derivatives to a drone's motion. This is our problem number 2. A drone flies upward, and its height in meters after t seconds is given by s of t is equal to 20 times square root of t plus 3t. Using derivatives, we can better understand how the drone's motion changes over time. So let's find out the velocity function by differentiating the height function and determine the acceleration at t is equal to 4 seconds by differentiating once more and evaluating the result. This example shows how calculus helps describe motion even when the position function involves roots. Okay, let's find the velocity. So velocity is the first derivative of position. So we're going to write first the square root of t as t raised to the exponent of 1/2. So v of t is equal to 20 times t raised to the exponent of 1/2 plus 3t. Then let's find the derivative of each term. So we have s prime of t is equal to 20 times 1/2 times t raised to the exponent of negative 1/2 plus 3. So how do we get the exponent of t, which is negative 1/2? So remember in our power rule, so that is exponent times t raised to the exponent minus 1. So we have 1/2 minus 1 is equal to negative 1/2. Then let's find what is 1/2 of 20. So our final answer is 10t raised to the exponent of negative 1/2 plus 3. So this is our first derivative. Next, we're going to find the acceleration, which is the second derivative of the position, or this is the derivative of the velocity. So a of t is equal to 10t raised to the exponent of negative 1/2 plus 3. Then let's find the derivative of each of the terms. So we have v prime of t is equal to 10 times negative 1/2 times t raised to the exponent of negative 3 over 2. So how do we get the exponent of t, which is negative 3 over 2? So that is negative 1/2 minus 1. So they are both negative, so we're going to add the numbers. So negative 1/2 plus negative 1 is equal to negative 1 and 1/2. And changing mixed number into an improper fraction, so we have here t raised to the exponent of negative 3 over 2. Then let's further simplify. Our final answer is equal to negative 5t raised to the exponent of negative 3 over 2. This is our second derivative of the position. And we're going to use this to find the acceleration at t is equal to 4 seconds. So a of 4 is equal to negative 5 times 4 raised to the exponent of negative 3 over 2. So what does it mean by 4 raised to the exponent of negative 3 over 2? So our exponent here is negative. We're going to make this into a positive exponent. So we have 1 over 4 raised to the exponent of 3 over 2. So what does it mean by 3 over 2? So 3 represent for the power and 2 represent for the index. So if the index is 2, that is square root. So this is 4 times 4 times 4, which is equal to 64, and the square root of 64 is equal to 8. So 4 raised to the exponent of negative 3 over 2, this is equal to 1 over 8. Then we're going to multiply this 1 to negative 5, and our final answer is equal to negative 5 over 8. By changing 5/8 of fraction into decimal number, so we have the acceleration at 4 seconds is equal to negative 0.625 meter per second squared. So the drone is slowing down as it rises. This problem demonstrates how derivatives allow us to analyze motion that doesn't follow simple polynomial patterns. By finding the velocity from the height function and then evaluating the acceleration at a specific time, we can see exactly how the drone speed is changing as it rises. Derivatives turn complex motion into clear, measurable information. Alright, let's have our third problem. This is a ball thrown upward. So a ball is thrown upward from the ground. Its position after t seconds is given by s of t is equal to 15t minus 4.9t raised to the exponent of 2. So, using derivative, we're going to find the velocity and acceleration functions. This is the first and the second derivative of s of t, which is the position. Next, we're going to determine when the ball reaches its maximum height, when velocity is equal to 0. And lastly, we're going to compute the maximum height by evaluating s of t, or the position at that time. So the units that we're going to use, meters for position, seconds for time. So our velocity is in meter per second, and our acceleration is in meter per second squared. Okay, let's solve. So first is we're going to find the velocity, which is the first derivative of position. So v of t is equal to 15t minus 4.9t raised to the exponent of 2. So what is our first derivative of the position? Alright, so this is equal to 15 minus 9.8t t. Then we're going to use this first derivative to find the acceleration, which is our second derivative of the position. So we have here a of t is equal to 15 minus 9.8t. So what do you think the second derivative of our function? Yes, you are right. So the second derivative is equal to negative 9.8. Next, we're going to find the maximum height happens when velocity is equal to 0. Okay, so we're going to answer when does the ball reach its maximum height. So we're going to use here the first derivative of the position. So we have here 15 minus 9.8t. We're going to equate this one into 0. Then by using the addition property of equality, so we have here 9.8t is equal to 15. Then finding the value of t is equal to 15 over 9.8, and this is equal to 1.53. So we use seconds here for our time. So we have here 1.53 seconds. Then we can use this data to answer our third question. What is the maximum height? So for the third question, we're going to use our position function. So find the height at t is equal to 1.53. So S of 1.53 is equal to 15 times 1.53 minus 4.9 times 1.53 raised to the power of 2. Then let's simplify. So we have here S of 1.53 to approximate equal to 22.95 minus 11.47. So our answer here for letter C, what is the maximum height? This is approximate to 11.48 meters. Our final answer, the maximum height occurs at 1.53 seconds at a maximum height of approximate 11.48 meters. This example shows three key ideas. The first derivative turns position into velocity, which tells when the ball stops rising. The second derivative gives acceleration, here constant and negative due to gravity. Setting v of t is equal to 0 finds the time of maximum height. Plugging that time into s of t, or the position, gives the maximum height itself. These steps illustrate how derivatives turn a motion formula into clear physical prediction. That wraps up the three motion problems. Each one shows how derivatives let us move from where an object is to how it's moving and how that motion changes. Thank you so much for watching our videos. Until next time.